Sometimes you just want to relax. The so-called cozy game genre has really come into its own as of the early 2020s, with its emphasis on non-violence, self-expression, and themes of nurturing all key to not just the mechanics, but the marketing and advertising of games that fall into this category. One popular example of this is the farming sim, with games like Stardew Valley, Harvest Moon / Story of Seasons, and My Time at Portia leading the way. And the newest one to throw its hat in the ring is indie title Kamaeru, a Frog Refuge. As its name implies, Kamaeru makes frogs the star of the show. The story, light as it is, has player character Cleo returning home to help an old friend resurrect a struggling wildlife refuge. As the refuge grows, other locals start to pitch in, the mayor offers her support, and the reach of your efforts begins to extend beyond your modest town. These efforts and your overall gameplay loop take two primary forms across two primary screens. In the wetlands, you build out ponds and plants to generate ingredients like berries and cattails. These items are then turned into products like candy, cups, or boxes via a quick but very repetitive minigame. This repeats until you have enough stuff to sell, at which point you return to the refuge. Here, you sell your products for money, which can be used to buy furniture that different types of frogs will be attracted to, and once you run out of money, the cycle repeats. The refuge is also where the personalization element comes into play, with arrangement, color, and layout of your furniture entirely up to you, kind of like your house in Animal Crossing. Along the way, you encounter and tame frogs by feeding them bugs you get in the wetlands. You're also encouraged to take pictures of them and add them to this game's equivalent of a Pokédex. Gotta catch 'em all, sustainably. Progression is tracked through objectives like reaching a certain refuge reputation level or biodiversity score, which is dependent on how you build out the wetlands. Once you complete an objective, you're still free to play at your own pace. The game never forces you on to the next milestone or bit of story if you're happy where you're at, which is good. Breeding is also emphasized, with you choosing two frogs you've already discovered and playing tic-tac-toe against the game with their existing traits to create a new variation. The game selects traits and board locations unpredictably to simulate the randomness of genetics, which makes sense, but once you get familiar with it, the mechanic is fairly shallow and quickly grows tiresome. The same goes for the merch crafting minigame. It's harmless enough at first, but it becomes cumbersome fast. It's also a little exploitable. If you make things individually instead of in bulk, you can triple or even quadruple your output for a lot more money at sale time if you're patient enough. The core gameplay loop is solid, and the sense of progression throughout is palpable, but with relatively little variation on offer, few products to sell, limited furniture availability, even the frogs only differ in color and pattern, tedium does set in over longer play sessions. Now, it's not just the mechanics that really matter in this genre. Cozy games rely on their presentation to sell the experience, and Kamaeru certainly sells it. The soundtrack never gets in the way, with slow tempos and soothing instruments a good backdrop for the gameplay. Its visuals are lovely, with the pastel and watercolor-like aesthetic both cute and welcoming. It's a warm and feel-good experience from the beginning, and you almost don't have a choice in that, as the game is very heavy-handed with its environmental and conservation messaging. Character designs are soft, and frogs are appropriately adorable, appearing on various pieces of furniture in different ways. Though they are largely static and simply fade in and out of existence, you kinda wish they were more animated or interacted with each other a bit. And this mentality extends into a lot of the game, frankly. You kinda wish the NPCs were more than just conduits for the mechanics. You kinda wish the frogs had more variation and impact on things. You kinda wish you had more involved breeding options and customization choices. You kinda wish you just had more. Scope is important to consider in any game, especially for indie releases with small teams and limited resources, so that's important to remember here as you keep your expectations in check. Ultimately, it's a healthy dose of solid, cozy fun, and it does what it sets out to do. I just wish there was more to do. It's easy to see how a sequel or DLC could expand on the core of this experience, and that's probably what's needed to bring out the full potential of what is a very cute idea here. So when you put it all together, Kamaeru gets 3.5 Gloobies out of 5. What it lacks in depth, it makes up for in charm and accessibility. While players may not spend inordinate amounts of time with it, the game justifies its $20 asking price, and fans of the cozy game genre will likely find it enjoyable, though appeal outside of that group may be limited. Kamaeru, a Frog Refuge is available on Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PC, including Windows, macOS, and Linux. This review was conducted on macOS via a Steam key provided by the publisher. Thanks so much for watching. Stay fresh, cheese bags. We'll catch you back here real soon.